right, so let's call the meeting to order at 2:06. Can everyone still hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Great. Perfect. All right. So Roland said that he'll have minutes next time, which is all right with me. And so that we don't need to do that line item. And then we like if and we have also today we have Cody from Kinley Horn with us to talk about some of the public hearing stuff. So I'd like to actually skip to the Kinley Horn part of the agenda to respect our time. And Cody, go ahead and give us what you got.
Absolutely, thanks, Alex. And I'm just getting a couple of documents open real quick.
Okay, perfect.
So basically what we shared with Alex and what we'd like to present to you all today for your consideration approval is the materials that we prepared for the public meeting, as well as some social media like text blurbs that we've shared that folks can use, can tweak as needed, just to try to help with drumming up interest in both the public meeting and the surveys. Right now, the social media posts are more geared towards the survey, but like I said, they could be tweaked once we've got the date set for the public meetings. So starting off with the boards that we pulled together, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So what you guys see right now, the first page of this PDF is just a welcome board that we would print. Everything that you're looking at is 22 by 36 or 24 by 36. So they'd be full size on poster board. This one could be, in like the main entrance of the various event locations or just outside of it. Like event that we just had, we had it closer to the main entrance of the library to help folks get back to where the actual event was. And it's also got the QR code for the website, the MBI website, in case anybody's not heard of why we're here and wants to check that out. And then the next page of the boards is, again, same size on poster board material, and just provides more information about the actual plan. So the overall MBI plan, the municipal aspect of it, what is digital equity, what is broadband, the focus areas of the plan, different components of digital equity, and a QR code to scan to be able to take them to the survey. As well as down here, there's actually the typed out website for MBI. So for anybody who maybe didn't see this one on their way in, they'd be able to at least see what that one is as well. And then again, for folks that have a digital device with them that want to be able to take the survey, they'd be able to take it here, especially for anybody who doesn't have time to stay for the whole meeting. And then we've got the next three boards are for kind of sticky notes for people to put up their thoughts on the three different components of digital equity: so adequate computing devices, affordable, reliable broadband connection, and digital literacy skills, with a kind of prompt of what areas we're talking about and different examples down in the bottom. So again, the idea is that we'll have sticky notes with us to be able to put on the board of, I have issues with this, or I like using the library's resources in this way. I live in this part of town and I don't have access to internet, or my internet's not good, that sort of thing. Just for people to be able to sort of share their quick thoughts outside of what the survey allows. And then, so that's what would be set up throughout the rooms, no matter whether it's the pop-up events or the full event. And then the main event, the bigger actual charrette, we planned on having a full presentation, about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And it's very similar to what we presented at the first steering committee that we all had together. Again, basically introducing the overview of the municipal digital equity plan, what we are looking for from those that are attending the meeting, and then open discussion. So overview being the actual MBI plan to help clear up for anybody who's not aware of where the plan came from, the fact that it's a state funded program. That seems to be a big hot topic for folks understanding who's paying for this. But that we're working, that we're working for MBI for Hadley. And the point of what we're trying to do with it. What is digital equity again, to try to explain the equity versus equal and how that associates with the digital resources. The three components of the digital equity, basically opening up the presentation to the boards of later on today. We'd love for you, if you haven't already, please provide your thoughts on access to adequate computing devices, affordable, reliable broadband, and digital equity or digital literacy or skills. Again, where the strengths and weaknesses are that you're experiencing. Talking about what is broadband, those minimum upload and download speeds. What we're seeing as far as Hadley's access is concerned, and what qualifies for broadband level upload and download speeds provided throughout the town. But then again, opening up the fact that this doesn't necessarily mean everybody has access. And even those who have Spectrum, for example, where most folks have it, doesn't necessarily mean they have that in their home, just that it's available by the provider. So the part of what we're trying to understand is what people are actually getting and how much they're paying for it, whether it's good quality, that sort of thing. Discussing some of the themes that have been seen by MBI across the entire Commonwealth and how that ties into what we're trying to do with Hadley to dig down deeper into Hadley's specific local issues, and the fact that just having access isn't enough, but that it also needs to be at an appropriate speed and an appropriate cost to be able to do the things that people want to do with it. The purpose of the municipal plan. The fact that today we're in the public engagement, public input phase of the plan, that we want to take and evaluate and identify where some of those needs areas are, what potentially could be done about them, what some potential action items could be to create a plan working with the stakeholders that we're working with. And then again, those implementation focus areas, where do we see action items coming out of and where do we see them getting funded? The fact that there's some funding opportunities through MBI, but also some state and federal grants, and that they could be getting new devices for the library, or they could be hiring more staff at different businesses to be able to support people's digital needs, training programs that could potentially be offered. And then saying now what we're looking for is feedback. So one, we'd love for people to take the survey if they haven't already done so, but also open for any questions or actual feedback that anybody wants to provide for us to be able to put on those boards. And that's the end of the presentation. I'm going to pause there since the other part is the social media text. Any questions, comments, concerns on what we would plan to bring to the public meetings or what would be at which type of meeting or anything like that?
Can you go over these steps to the left again? There was one that I had a question about, and just I want to review that. I'll tell you which one it is, starting.
Okay.
Okay, go to the next one. Next one.
Okay.
Next one. Next. Next one. Next one. Next one. Next one. Next one. One moment. Can you go back up, please?
Oh, sorry.
Sure. Let me just review this one.
Yep.
Okay. So when it comes to this one, and you said you're going to prepare a digital equity, well, everyone, where we can serve these residents. Now, what about the residents now who do not have access to any digital device? Is this information able to be printed out as brief as possible to provide a paper copy?
Oh, sure, absolutely. So, something that we could bring is like 11 by 17 or 8.5 by 11 versions of this
Yes.
board, since it's got a lot of that information on it.
I
Okay.
think that would be very.
And we also are, sorry,
I
I was
think
gonna
that
say-
would be very useful.
okay. And I forgot to also mention, we are also planning to bring paper versions of the survey for anybody who doesn't want to take, we're gonna bring iPads for anybody who's comfortable using a device but doesn't have one. And we're gonna bring paper versions for anybody who would just rather fill out a paper version. And we can bring different languages as well. So
Okay.
lots of the English, but also the other languages that y'all shared that are primary languages in the community.
That would be very appreciated, as we do have a lot of seniors who do not have access to digital devices, and I have been delivering paper copies of this survey. So this information would actually assist them in understanding more with the greater scope of what's trying to be done in Hadley.
Yep, I'm just gonna take a quick screenshot. And I know we also, for some of the other communities, we created a smaller version or a smaller flyer, a simpler flyer, but it relied kind of heavily on QR codes. So if you think that this will be easier for them to process, we can stick with this instead.
I think it's
Is
easier.
there any-
Yeah,
Sorry.
much easier.
Okay,
I can barely see it.
No.
oh yeah, sorry, I can zoom in if you got, and I was planning on sending, I sent all of this to Alex, so I think he can forward it onto the group. Just kind of wanted to give a overview of what we're planning on it containing and what we're planning on bringing.
I'll forward at the whole committee.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so then if anybody has any
Alex?
comments, we can definitely address them.
Alex, when you send it, will it be in a format that we can go right ahead and print it in 8.5 by 11?
I could check in on that next week.
Okay, yeah, next week's fine. I'm busy with turkey from now on.
Yep.
Yeah, they're all 24 by 36, so we'd want to reformat this one if we want to make an 8.5 by 11 version of it, but for the sake of your reviewing it, you should be able to print it on a smaller sheet.
And as you stated, this is something that you've provided other communities with a breakdown of the basics of what you're going to provide.
Right, yep.
Okay.
So what we, and I should have mentioned that as well. So we've so far had a couple of the public meetings to kind of fine tune the presentation, see things that people had a lot of questions about and have added those in. The boards are generally the same, but the presentation, we've been kind of adding some information, especially things like the broadband speeds.
Okay.
So I have a question about the digital literacy. Are you actively doing that in towns now?
You mean training programs, like
Yes.
to help? Yes, there are. I mean, I'm not, but we have helped we've helped the communities get staff and create programs to be able to do trainings. And I believe Alex said that they're in the process of doing so in Hadley now.
Well, we're
Right,
trying.
Right. So there are lots of other towns that are doing it or have been doing it. And of course, your school's program has a really good program already. So we've been part of one of our implementation types action items has been to further expand that program, and that can definitely be one for Hadley. And we can talk through, we know when we get to that phase, what that looks like.
As far as the cost and everything else included, correct?
Exactly, cost, and there's also parts of the feedback that are parts of the survey that ask about what format they would like, format, frequency, location they'd like the trainings to be, whether they want them on demand and virtual, or like basically videos that they can watch anytime versus in-person trainings versus so there's some of that feedback as well that we're getting from folks to be able to help tailor what is appropriate in Hadley.
Okay.
And sorry, Jane, you want to go ahead? Then I'll ask my
One
question.
of the things we see at the senior center is seniors who are really, not even able to turn a computer on, but want to know how. And the concept that here's a video to watch is not going to be any use. We need basic information. And if you've done that somewhere else, it would be really useful if we could, start with that soon.
Okay.
My question was about particularly the telehealth topic and whether you have an implementation or digital literacy classes available for that.
Not off the top of my head, but I can definitely, add that as a consideration.
All right.
So once we receive this printout that's shown on the screen, if there was any way to add information that may have been missed that is in accordance to Hadley specifically, are we able to modify this?
I'd say to an extent, we're trying to make sure that we don't put too much information on here, right? But if we see the need for like a second board, if it seems appropriate to like broadband speeds or something like that, I think definitely knowing where we are with space, we don't want it to be too cluttered. But we'll definitely take any recommendations that you have, and we can talk through whether it makes sense to add it here or separate it into something else, create a flyer, that sort of thing.
Right, because as Jane said, digital literacy amongst seniors in Hadley really they need to be informed and trained. So something like this board right here being presented, they will not understand what the components of digital equity means.
Right.
So they need to have the basic understanding of what digital equity is, because it's just like anyone, if you start to read something, you don't understand it, you're not going to read it any further, whereas then it's no use to you.
Right. So I guess what I'm trying to understand is what we think would be helpful. Like we're going to have the boards and we're going to go through the presentation. We could also print off versions of the slides or
Yes.
copies of the slides. That way they'd have more of the content to be able to go through. Like, would that help?
Well, you know what? I just thought of this as you were speaking. What if there was something that you can provide us where we can have our own, maybe have a meeting at the senior center and have a presentation regarding this with some slides, just
Well,
as an
that's what this,
introduction.
yeah, I think two of our, if not all three of the events are intended to be at the senior center.
Right. But something beforehand, so they'll have
Oh,
an
beforehand.
understanding.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely open to your thoughts. You'll have a copy of the PowerPoint if you want to like cut it down. But if there are things that we can do to help with that, but just let us know. Let's try and understand what you think would be best.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Any other questions for Cody?
Not for me.
And I'm just taking
All right,
notes so I don't forget this.
All right, I'll take that as a no for now. And Cody, you have other stuff to share with us too?
Yep. So then the only other thing is the social media text, which the idea being that once we, and I don't know if this is probably next on your agenda, Alex, is the date of the meeting. Once we have the date of the meeting and that flyer that Alex created, probably tweaked, then that could be the like graphic that goes with these, but then the text to help understand not just, hey, there's a public meeting, but like, here's what the public meeting is about, that what Hadley is trying to do, and where they can take the survey in this case. But then also, like I said, we could put in the text what the date and times are. Again, just trying not to make it too long since it's social media. These are just some thoughts on what different groups may want to send out that might grab different audiences' attention. So these are not end all be alls. They're just to try to help make people's lives a little bit easier, give you something to copy and paste and share on your websites or on your social media pages, that sort of thing.
I do apologize. Can you enlarge this a little bit more, please? And I know you already spoken about this, but can you just go to the first page? I did hear everything you said. I just want to I'm a visual person.
Yeah, it's a lot of text. So it's
Okay.
like it's a similar information, just geared towards different audiences. So this one being kind of like the short, sweet, like the first one being a short, sweet, this is what we're trying to do, go take our survey. But then other ones of why does it matter? Because the speeds are a challenge, or what can you do with better internet, improved education, better health, et cetera. We know that because it's both rural and urban, that there are some areas that are struggling with access being available or affordable. So that's basically, again, like it's just kind of different ways of saying the same thing at the end of the day. We're working on a plan, please take our survey. Or it could be tweaked of, we're working on a plan, please come to our public meeting.
So Cody?
Yep.
Would you go back to the beginning of this page?
And again, Alex is gonna send this out if you all have any
Yeah.
on the text, but
You're asking help us understand barriers to internet access, affordability, and adoption to help close the digital divide. So seniors don't even know what that question says, some of them.
right.
What barriers? I don't even know what internet access is. So they
Right. So
can't answer the
we may
question.
not want to use that one for targeting the seniors. There might be a different one that makes a little bit more sense for what the seniors would identify with or what draw their attention.
Okay, the seniors are 1/3 of the population of Hadley. This is a major group.
Yep, understood. Yep, so I was thinking like this one might make more sense. It's wordy, but this one might make more sense where we're talking about speeds and affordability of the internet.
How do I know what speed my internet is? What does affordable mean?
Good point.
I
So
mean,
again, these are just
if I'm
these are
paying
just thoughts.
$50 a month, is that what everybody's paying, or do some people pay more or less? How do I know? I have no give or take on this.
And Cody, we know that there are neighboring communities who have implemented broadband, and people are very curious as to what they are paying and what is available now at what price. So
Right.
that kind of detailed comparison would be really helpful.
Well, and that's honestly part of what we're trying to gain from this. Like, that's why we need people to fill out the surveys, because we don't know the answers to that question.
And what's the difference between broadband and internet?
They're the same thing.
But you don't say that. And so I hear two things. I have the internet or I can have broadband. You're talking two words, but you're not combining them.
I'm just skimming through real quick. So like maybe this one and it's still affordable and reliable, might not be words that you like, but this at least gets kind of to the meat of at least access and might maybe grab their attention a little bit better. And again, we could tweak this part because at the end of the day, what we're trying to say is please fill out the survey because we want to know who has access and who doesn't, and maybe who has challenges with their access. But this one talks about education. This one talks about the fact that obviously this is a grant funded opportunity. Again, very wordy, but might be one that helps answer some questions about why we're doing this, who's doing this, who's paying for it. This one talks about digital equity, at least. Doesn't necessarily explain the broadband question, but it does talk about what is digital equity and why are we looking at it. So again, these are just what we pulled together for our initial thoughts. So I think what'll help is if you have if you want to track change, markup, provide comments on these words don't resonate, these words do resonate. That'll help us with tailoring these messages, right?
Yeah, I think that's going to be critical of Cody too, because just the whole devices topic, what people have available, whether that's adequate, they may not understand, and what's available via mobile computing versus, a laptop versus what's available for them to use in the library or the senior center right now. Those are the things that we had hoped would be more detailed with examples.
Well, those are what's going to be in the plan not
Mhm.
what we're trying to get. Like, we're trying to learn those things right now. We're still in the public engagement process where we're trying to understand what are people experiencing, what are they using, and we've learned some of the library, like what's available at the library, et cetera. But what is here is where we're still trying to get that information from folks. What we'll be sharing with you all the next time is our like draft plan that actually documents those things. But this is still the information gathering stage.
And again, this will be provided to us via
Right.
Alex, right? So
Yep.
this
Yeah,
is
correct.
this is an outline of what you would like to bring, and then the next meeting you'll be more descriptive in what it's going to entail.
Well, so this is what we'll bring to the meeting, and this is what we plan to do at the meeting is the presentation and have the flyers, have the ask people to take the survey. All the public meeting is still getting information and educating people on the overall purpose of the plan, but not what's been put into the plan yet, because we're not really like we're 30% of the way there.
Right.
So we're not really ready to present what's in the plan because the plan's not even fully drafted yet.
Okay. And the slides that you'll send will have this information. Because as I stated, the seniors would need to actually understand what a digital equity plan is before they can really respond.
Right, right. Yep, exactly. So right now that we're asking for their input on what should go into the plan. And step one is helping them understand what it even is. What is the plan going to be? And then that's where we'll be hoping to get their feedback on what should go into the plan. We'll work with you all to make the plan. And that's what will get shared with them when we're done with the draft in like, I think it's April, is when the actual plan would be ready for you all to distribute and get their input on.
So my
Oh, okay.
overall sense is that seniors who are not using digital or are scared of it are not going to be at all interested in participating in this because they don't understand at all and they just avoid it. So I think we're going to already be skewed with our audience. We have a few people we can encourage to come who are at that level, but that's not going to be the broad majority of people, and I don't know how to reach them.
You know what I was thinking, Jane? Maybe I can, once I get the slides, put something together and set up a meeting at the senior center for those who can attend to explain, starting from the ground up, what digital means, what equity means, how it can affect the town, and try to have some input into them, as well as try to reach out maybe on a semi-individual basis to help our seniors understand what this is and how it can actually help them in the long run. Because like I said, we do have those that do not even understand what a computer, how to use it. So I think that if they did have some type of meaning or understanding, like you said, they're afraid of it. So maybe if they have an understanding of it and someone that they trust can walk them through it, maybe by the time this is proposed, and you said April, Cody, then
Yeah, I
maybe,
believe that's when our draft is due.
yeah, we'll have more of an input from our seniors.
So, Crystal, there's already the age and dementia friendly, take the age piece, not the dementia friendly, who is working on digital literacy. And that's
Okay.
where some of my information comes from. So working with them, they're hoping to start up something in mid to late January
Okay.
on individual trainings. So that may be useful.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
that's
Maybe I
definitely
can-
useful. And
And
knowing that
then,
sorry.
and then there is additional information coming in from Molly sessions, which are once a month sessions. And there's been very good participation in those. And so we are gathering topics and information from that as well, which we can include, Krista.
Yeah, and getting that sort of information from you all for us to include in the plan, because we don't want to have action items that you all are already doing. We do want to mention, like, part of our plan that we have started drafting talks about what's going well in Hadley and what's not going well in Hadley. Something we can say that's going well in Hadley is that you've started that program with the age and dementia friendly group and who you mentioned, Linda. And we can say what could be built off of that is, or if you had more staff, this could help, or we could have it more often, or we could have it in more locations, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And Linda, if you can email me that information about Molly's group, maybe we can also share whatever I can compose together that I'd share with the Age of Dimension for viewing. Maybe I can share that with Molly as well.
So, could we, couple of this, Crystal, could I propose that me, you, and Jane or Linda get together and work on that together instead of just
Of
one
course.
person doing it?
Of
Okay,
course.
great.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm technically on vacation right now, so I'll send out an email when I get back Saturday.
Okay.
Great. So yeah, Alex has all of those materials and he'll be sending them along to everybody. And then we just welcome whatever feedback you have. There's not really, not knowing when we're going to be rescheduled means we don't really necessarily have a deadline. Probably by Christmas, if possible, would be helpful. So then we have a couple of weeks week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however long it is until our actual meetings in January, to fold in the changes, ask any follow-up questions we might have, that sort of thing. As well as, so I think the social media is the one that's a little bit more urgent because we'll want, after we have a date, we'll want to be advertising that on the social media, knowing we'll be coming off the heels of the holidays. We'll want as much time as we can to advertise it, which I say I mean you all, because it'll be through your website, your town pages, that sort of thing, because my social media is not going to reach people that live in Hadley, but we as a collective.
So we as a collective, social media does not hit any of the seniors, or very few of them. So we
So
need to
Jane,
find it. Yeah, go out.
So, yep. So, it won't, whenever I send information like this, or at least not only will be on social media, I'll send something to Scott from the Gazette. I'll send something to everyone who has socials. I'll send it to the senior center. So they all have all that information. So it won't be just,
The 5 of us on this call.
exactly. So so hopefully we will be able to get as many people as we can through traditional media sources,
Good.
and obviously our cable channels as well.
Right.
And what I can do is I can bring this up in one of our meetings too. So those who do watch the YouTube town sessions can also be advised about it.
And I did want to point out something that Linda talked about with concerning when it came to broadband. There's a couple. I do want to caution everyone when we talk about broadband, because there is also a lot going on that I've been working on in the broadband sphere when it came to the BEAD Challenge, which is a program that's going to try to get more people hooked up to the internet nationwide. So, even though it's part of digital equity, broadband is also like a very broad topic also. So I pretty much want to let everyone know that I've been working behind the scenes on some of that broadband. Because remember, we have those areas of town that don't have internet currently.
Right.
As well as some people, as we all knew from our cable renewal process, there's some people who also who want a different option. And we all learned very quickly that a company like Comcast will not come into town and compete with Charter or Spectrum.
Right.
I did have one question for Cody. There's a slide or either a slide or one of the social medias that talked about urban and rural.
Oh, yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone on the call. I personally don't consider Hadley an urban community. I mean, it can be skewed that way because of the commercialization of Route 9, but outside of Route 9, I personally think it's just a rural community. Unless there's aspects of town that would make it an urban community.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree, Alex. Hadley is not, there's nothing urban about it. Urban is often defined by population. There's no way we're going to get that.
Right, yeah, it's more of that there is at least like a downtown and stuff like that, but totally
But
understand.
there
that
isn't a downtown.
Oh, okay, I thought that there was. I thought there was at least like a couple of blocks of sort of downtownish area.
The
And
state
Cody-
highway runs through the business district and all the malls are there, but it's not town.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, sorry.
And Cody, also, for those people who only mobile commuting, a cell phone is all they have, there are many areas in town where the cell service is very poor.
Right,
So it's not only even if they have some access, they don't
that's-
have that, which could be
yeah.
critical.
And that's another thing to remember as you're having these conversations with, whether it's at the actual events or before the events, any sort of conversation you're having with anybody, we do want to understand there are challenges with both mobile and wireline.
Mhm.
So those with cell phones, understanding where they have connection issues within the town, as well as issues at their home that are spectrum, et cetera.
Mhm.
And I've been encouraging unserved and underserved areas of town to come to this meeting, to make sure that their voice is heard.
And that's another item I meant to mention is that we've done for some of the towns, haven't necessarily done for all of the towns, probably makes sense to do for Hadley, is a big board. We brought like a board that is the whole map of the town and sticky dots that they can put good, bad, whatever, for the parts of town, to try to help understand. And even if they want to write on there who the provider is, like I have Verizon and my cellular service is not good here, for those who know. But at least getting understandings of where those pockets of good or pockets of bad are.
I think that interactive thing would be really useful.
Okay.
And while we're on the subject of seniors and senior centers, there is one part of the agenda that could help with this conversation a little bit, and that is instead of having Pamela Rogers of the Housing Authority be one of the interviewees, because have Michelle LaCory for the senior center be the interviewee to swap them out. I know Pamela's very busy, and it's been I don't know about you, Cody, but it's been
Challenging.
hard. It's been challenging to get her to do the interview, and there's nothing against her or anyone. And I know Linda stated that Michelle was very eagerly and enthusiastic about being interviewed. So if that's okay with everyone, I'd like to take a quick vote unless there's any more discussion on that.
Seems reasonable.
Yes, I don't have any more questions.
Great.
All right, so may I have a motion? Let me get my agenda out so I can actually say what I want to say here. May I have a motion to making Michelle LaCory the senior center be an interviewee in place of Pamela Rogers of the Housing Authority. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion, Alex.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. And I'm on my phone, so I can easily get gallery view. All right. Roll call vote since we're online. Jane,
Yes.
Roland,
Sorry, yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Crystal,
Yes.
and Kyle.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. All right, and Cody, I'll get you all that information for doing that interview.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Cody, was there anything else you wanted to discuss
No,
or
that's it.
get anybody
just-
interrupted?
No, I was just skimming through my notes to make sure that I have full thoughts taken down from what everybody was talking about. So if anybody has any other questions, definitely let me know. Otherwise, I just look for whatever feedback anybody has that would help us tailor our materials better.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Any other questions for Cody?
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, great. So when it comes to the next meeting, is there any? I know I wanted to change the date. Would the 7th or the 14th of January be okay with anyone?
7th works for me. I think I'm away on the 14th. Wait a minute.
Okay.
I can do the 7th
7th.
also for sure. I'm not so certain about the 14th.
I can do the 7th too.
Okay. Amy, Kyle.
No issues here.
I just checked my schedule. I can do the 7th.
Cody, would the 7th work for you guys?
Yes, it would.
Okay, great. All right, so we'll get that changed, and then I'll make sure there's a public hearing notice that goes out to the community, and we'll go from there. We pretty much hit. I think we pretty much hit everything on the agenda. The ones for me and Crystal were from last meeting, and I just forgot to take those out. Topics for next meeting. Anyone? I know Roland wants to see survey results at some point.
Do we know how many surveys we currently have, Alex?
I think there's 3 at the send over.
I was actually just gonna pull that up. Those that have been populated, not including the 3 that you have, there's 190 that have been entered, which is awesome.
Wow. Okay. That's wow.
That is
Yeah.
That's
So
good
great job
numbers.
to everybody who's been
Wow.
advertising it and helping with get them to us.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
that sounds way
absolutely.
better than 3.
Yeah. I'm gonna do one more
Yeah.
push. The water bill is gonna be going out next month. So I'll put a little blurb in, and I'll send it to the collector's office, and hopefully we can get some more out of that. But 190 is pretty good. I think some of those came from the election day gathering, and I'm hoping that my parents who enjoy our sports games have been took the survey. I knew a couple did as they were voting and going out to wherever they were out off at 495. So yeah, great work everyone for spreading the word and helping out. So great. Is there anything else before we close the meeing? It was
Yes,
a very
Alex,
good
you
meeting
said
today.
You said the majority of those surveys came from that election day?
So I had last time we met, we talked about the surveys. We had about around 100, and then the 90 potentially came from the election day, because I know I had 60 plus surveys that I sent over, and they processed for us. And then I'm assuming maybe 30 of them stemmed from that as well, because I'm assuming a lot of those were online.
So if you didn't know, Alex sat outside during the whole election, getting everybody who walked in saying, take a survey, take a survey. And he did a really great job.
Yeah, the key was if you didn't like your internet service, this is their survey to take, and a lot of people took it. So
That goes,
Hook them on whatever you can.
that goes to show
Yes.
how bad we need it.
definitely.
So do you want me to list it next meeting on my research that I did for the fiber optic? Go over that?
I could do that. Yep, I'll put that down for us. Yeah, I'll put that down for us, Amy. Sorry, I didn't put it down for this one. And we could have a discussion on that. It's pretty much what we talked about a couple weeks ago, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So cool. And Any other topics? And before we close, just want
If I
to
think
wish
of anything,
everyone
can I reach out to you?
absolutely. If anyone can thinks anything, just reach out to me and we'll talk about it and put it up. Before we close, just want to wish every single one of you a very warm and safe Thanksgiving. And
Okay.
yeah, is there a motion
to
to
you.
adjourn? You're welcome.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to all as well.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there
Second,
a second?
Yes.
All right.
Second.
I haven't been doing roll calls for adjournment. So everyone have a great Thanksgiving and I'll see y'all coming up.